Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the videos. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you. I'm Matt LaMarche. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia, as you can see right there. But today I'm super excited to bring you another special guest. Out of would you call it the Midwest? Do we consider Oklahoma the Midwest?
I
It's
mean,
kind of more
sure, Central Plains, whatever.
I never know where we need to really define these lines more. I feel like
Honestly,
because there's some people that say Midwest, and I'm like, all right, so we're calling it the Midwest, and then I say it, and then it's no longer applied.
whatever works.
Anyway, Jillian, I really appreciate you taking the time today. Thank you so much for doing this. Real quick, for the people out there that do not know who you are, tell them who you are, where you are, what you do, and also what makes you different in the real estate world.
Okay, well, I'm Jilian Gardner. I am in the Oklahoma market. Can help you all over the state if you have any needs all through the state. We have lots of connections all over. But I am out of the Oklahoma City metro. So servicing all of the different suburbs that surround that. Edmond is one of my main markets. I've been doing it about 17 years now. And I started when I was a baby, obviously. And yeah, about to hit the big 4-0 though in a couple weeks. So anyway, yes. And what makes me different, we really just, I think one of the biggest thing is it's the relationship driven industry, and we just really try to pour into our people to make sure we're giving the highest level of customer service. We've actually been the number one in customer service in our entire brand nationwide, which is over 41,000 agents for the last 3 years. So it's the thing I'm most proud of: customer service, being number one in that. Numbers are great, and we love every year getting better and better as far as that goes. But the customer service awards, that's what we really love. So just providing that high level of service and value to our clients.
I love that. And I don't know if did you just read my mug? This says relationship driven on here? Did you know that?
No, it doesn't.
I promise you, look.
Shut up. That's some no
amazing.
I don't know.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that you used that. Okay. Well, so what I've tried to tell people with this whole series is that what I'm trying to do with this is not just introduce people in my network that I'm a big believer in the pebble in the pond, right? It may not be someone watching this video that is moving to Oklahoma, but they know someone, right? Or they know someone that's lived in Oklahoma, or fill in the blank, right? So I believe a lot in obviously video content, but also that pebble in the pond theory. So within the business, though, you just mentioned it, customer service, client service is really what kind of separates us from the pack, if you will, right? Like, we all know the statistic in the industry, but a lot of people don't know, and consumers certainly probably don't realize this, that there's like 5, maybe 10% of realtors and real estate agents, professionals, that create 90% of the business, right? And then the flop is also true, that 10% of the business is created by the remaining 90%. So customer service, client service, talk to us a little bit about that. What have you guys learned? What systems do you guys have in place? And if someone is looking to move to Oklahoma, why should they move to Oklahoma?
Okay, well, so first, as far as the way that we do things with clients and systems, we do have a CRM just like everybody does, and we have our people in that, and they get kind of all the normal touches of birthday and all the monthly updates on what they need to be doing to their house. We do all that kind of normal stuff, right? But we take it above and beyond with that, and through the process of the actual purchase and the first meeting, like our very first contact with them, we're going to set up a client meeting at our office, where so many things are so digital and electronic now that a lot of times we can go through a whole transaction and you don't even really like have to meet sometimes if they've already found the house, or you may not have those moments where you get to sit down and really have the face-to-face. So we always schedule that face-to-face with any new buyer, and make sure we're going through what the experience is going to be like for them, what to expect from us, what the contract says. We're explaining all that in person, so they're not just getting that from us later on in like a click, click, click and sign, and you don't even know what you're signing. So a lot of upfront work is done to make sure that we have a good relationship from the very start and clear expectations, right? Then, through the sale, there's a lot of things that are happening, but a lot of what we do is after the sale. They're getting things from us through the process after closing that are just providing value to them, whether it's gifts or we often do like a welcome home party or a housewarming party for them, to be able to invite their friends to. We do a lot of client events through the year that we invite them to and try to get their families there, and just provide year after year value to them, and always being a resource for things for them, anything that they need as they're moving to Oklahoma and you don't know contractors, you don't know electricians, you don't know a hairdresser, whatever. We just try to be the resource for them for all things in the community, really, and try to even help them get plugged in the community if they're coming in from out of state. So just overall being a resource to people, and having that relationship that it is a long-term thing, isn't just for that one sale. And in general, moving to Oklahoma, I mean, it's honestly a really great place to live. People are always like, why would you want to move to Oklahoma? I'm like, you know what? I've lived here my entire life. I've lived in different areas of the state, so not just in the Edmond area, but all through the state. And it's a really great place these days to live. Okay, lots of expansion, lots of overall development within the city, where we actually have a lot to do now. There's a lot of jobs here, for one thing. We actually have the lowest unemployment. I think we're like number 2 or something right now. So we really have a great job market here. There's a lot of companies that want to come here now because there's so much going on. And it's a great place you can go on vacation a lot of places, and then you don't have the beach, you don't have those kind of things here. You have lakes, but it's a great place to come home to, and so we vacation a lot. It's a great place to come home to.
I love it.
Great schools, great family environment. It's a good feeling.
I love it. I love it. Well, I also want to set the stage here, because when you and I hopped on first, I saw you in your car, which is like the most realtor thing ever, right? But also, I know I've been following you on Instagram here ever since we got connected, which, by the way, was mostly through YPN. We didn't actually meet while we were at that event in August in Chicago, but I can't wait for the next one so that we can actually, meet and mastermind around all this type of stuff. But this is one really interesting thing. I try to ask every one of my guests that I have on here, you've told us all about you in the business, right? But I love to say that you're a realtor, and what, right? Like, what else do you do when you're not working, when you're not in the car running from appointment to appointment and doing what you do? Which I love, by the way. I wish all of these could be in the car. I wish I could be in my car right now, because I feel like that's the most comforting space I have. And we spent so much time there, it only makes sense. But outside
in one of your Porsches, right?
Exactly. Of course, you wouldn't be able to hear anything at all. But in terms of outside of real estate, like, tell us a little bit about what you do on the weekends when you aren't working. What do you do with the family, like stuff that people might not normally know about you as a real estate agent?
Well, outside of real estate, I mean, I'm a mom. I've got 3 kids. They're about to be 16, almost 13 tomorrow, one of them, and 12. So they keep me busy. Life is crazy with all of that, but really good. And, also outside of that, I'm a singer. That's also my other main thing in life, my other main passion. My degree is in vocal performance, actually. So obviously I'm using that every day in real estate. So I sing at all realtor events. I do a little recording on the side. My husband's an audio engineer, so that kind of gives me an outlet for that. I sing a lot around our state and at different events. So that's kind of my other passion, is music in general. I play piano. But yeah, so that's kind of my 2 worlds: my family, my music world, and my real estate world.
I love it. I love it. Well, and I know it had to be one of your most popular videos that you put on Instagram, surely, where you were singing a beautiful medley of, I don't even know what it was, but it sounded fantastic. So tell us a little more about your social though, in terms of Instagram and Facebook and, even video. Like what are you doing to differentiate yourself? Because just like I know, that there's 1,000 realtors in your area that probably are doing a lot of the same stuff. But you mentioned you're a mom and you're a wife and you're a singer. There's a lot of other veins, right, that we could connect to, and that people would actually, that message would almost resonate with them more than the just sold, the just listed, all that other stuff that's in the real estate realm. So talk to us a little bit about your Instagram and social media game and what you're doing with it, but also how it kind of makes you stand out.
Yeah, well, I think that for a long time it was kind of like a guessing game of like, well, what do you do? What do you post? And eventually it just, for me, it's like, I'm just going to try to show the realness of what I'm doing or what my life is, and have it be a mixture of even on my personal page, of things that are business related, but also plenty of things that are just what's going on with my kids, what's going on in my personal life. And I think people are much more likely to engage with your business side of things if you're showing like the realness of who you are, and all the other areas of life. They don't want to see just the sold and this closing and whatever. I still post that stuff, but that's just not going to be the bulk of what's there or all of what's there. And so, yeah, I've tried to be more active on video in the last year. It always makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm more comfortable with it now than I used to be. But, just I'm trying to venture into the TikTok world. I really don't like it. It's a whole other just thing to have to do, but and try to be creative with, and I'm just not always that creative. I feel like force myself into that space of creativity over there, so maybe it's a good challenge for me. But anyway, I just try to be genuine and real, and have a good mixture of all the things that are going on in life, so it engages people.
For sure. Well, and one of the most powerful things, that even though we were in the same room for, I don't know, 36 or 48 hours and didn't actually meet face to face,
Right.
I feel like I know you now as a result of
Yeah.
Instagram, and vice versa, right? Like that to me is
Yes.
why video is so powerful, because now I'm in your daily life. Like I'm in the car with
Yeah.
you. I'm going to those
Right.
appointments and I'm seeing the house that you're walking through. Like, and
Yeah.
that's why I think that 80% of who are you, like what is Jillian about? What does she do on the weekends? Like, is there any connection point for me, right, as a male in Georgia, that I have nothing to do with Oklahoma, right? But to me, I think that's one of the things that I like about what you're doing with social media, is that you are showing more about who you are, because we all know in our business that it is about the relationships, and that it is about, you know, people are now finding us on social media and attracted to what we're doing, or they're not, right? But
Right.
this is strange, and I never really thought about this until this last week. I'm willing to bet you haven't gotten calls from people about Instagram that are like, "Hey, I'm not using you because you're on Instagram doing video." Like, you don't hear from those people. You hear from the people that are like, "I loved your story," or "You were talking about your daughter the other day and I saw her in this thing. I love that." Right? No one calls going, "Hey, Jillian, come on. I'm not going to work with you because of that." You never hear from them, right? Which is really
No.
interesting, I think.
That's true. That's true. Yep. I mean, overall, it's being consistent with it though for me these days. And honestly, sometimes feeling like I'm like um overdoing it, but I don't feel like you can really overdo it with video. Um, so yeah, just making myself do more video, being real, and being uh authentic with the daily stuff that's going on, which is a lot of family stuff a lot of the time, and a lot of travel, recently. And I do a lot with our state association. I do a lot with the national association, and with our pack, and all these different things that have caused me to have a lot of travel this year. So that's created some other different content, but it's always on the go. I feel like with
Well,
my life.
and that's what I love about it, right? Because for, again, I always try to think about the audience, right? Like, who's watching you? And it's probably some past clients. It's probably a lot of your sphere of influence. It's probably people that might decide to use you at some point, right? It could be 3 or 5 years from now, but they're they're watching closely, right? And they may not be
Yeah.
commenting or liking or engaging with your stuff, but when you go to, say, like an RPAC event or a National Association of Realtor event, it's going to start conversation. Like people are going to say, "Oh, I saw you in San Diego. What were you doing there?" Like that to me is where the power is. Everyone thinks I'm just like sitting here waiting for someone to go, "Matt, I'm looking to buy a house." Oh, great, let's go. It's not
Yeah.
about that at all. It's just about conversation. It's really that to me is
Yeah.
what is so cool about social, is that you
Yeah.
never know how a message is going to be received. And whether
Yeah.
they like the post or not, they're still going to remember it. And that is one thing that,
True.
again, I love about the way that you communicate on social, and specifically on Instagram and stories, is that it's very, very similar to me. And it's one of the reasons I reached out to you to do this as well, because I knew people would really be attracted to the way that you're doing it, because it's very, very similar to the way that I do it. So in the last couple of
Thanks.
minutes here, real quick though, tell everyone, if they're watching this, of course I'm going to include all your contact info and everything down in the description of this video, but if they had to do one thing to get a hold of Jilian this afternoon, what's the best way to do that?
Easiest is always going to be to text me, because I'm a quick text back always. Everything's urgent with me, I feel like, all the time. So you can text me. But you can go to my website, JillianGardnerHomes.com, has all my contact info on there. It's got connections to social on there. And so you can pretty much find me everywhere if you go to JillianGardnerHomes.com. Jillian has one L in it, FYI. As a common issue.
I get it. I get it. Well, thank
Yeah.
you again so much for doing this. I really appreciate you and your time today. I know you're super busy, so I really, really, really appreciate it. And thanks again for the time.
Thank you. I
Absolutely.
appreciate you having me on.
You
Thanks.